Hello. So, I saw this post. It popped up on Hacker News. It's a link to a Reddit post, and it's titled "The Human Internet is Dying: AI Images Taking Over Google." And the person has attached a screenshot, and it says it's under the ChatGPT subreddit. I'll link it in the description below. And they've searched Google Images for baby peacock, and 1, 2, 3, 4, what's that, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 results have appeared on the screen, and 4 of them that we know of are genuine, which means that 11 of them are fake. So 11 of them are AI generated images, and you can clearly see that they are. In fact, one of them is even, I've actually just noticed, is actually Adobe stock. It's actually an Adobe stock picture. That's pretty crazy. It also looks like one of them is the same image twice, 3 times actually. The same image appears 3 times. All right, interesting. Is this a problem? Yeah, definitely. I don't think this is going to be very good for society at all. One of the top comments says, "This is slowly starting on YouTube too. Everything is becoming fake and low quality." And I agree. I agree entirely. I think I think the only way to really combat this is for people to produce the content that's really kind of meaningful and is made by a human. Otherwise, I think it's okay if content's produced by AI if it's entertaining or funny or interesting. If what if an artist really does some funky stuff with AI and produce some really thought-provoking art using artificial intelligence? I don't think that's a bad thing. There's no difference in that case between artificial intelligence and a canvas and a paintbrush. There's no difference. They're just different results, different tools that would give you physically. One will give you physical results, one will give you digital, and then you can print the digital and put it on canvas. Probably wouldn't look very good, but then again, it depends. It's still art at the end of the day, and so like most tools, it's just a tool, and how you choose to use it is entirely up to you. However, it certainly enables people to just produce garbage without a doubt, without any doubt at all, that we are going to see just an absolute dump of garbage. So, what do I think that this looks like in the dev space, in the DevSecOps space, cybersecurity, programming? Well, if we ignore the whole AI writing code for us and doing things like that, I think that that's going to be very, very useful and very powerful. I think that's going to be a very productive, constructive use of artificial intelligence. But if we think about the educational side of things, so producing educational content, I don't think it's going to be very good at all. But then a part of me thinks, does it matter if you read a artificial intelligence generated README file for a GitHub project, an open source project, let's just say, that is very well written, accurate, of course, most importantly, and gives you the right commands and helps you utilize that code base, educates the person looking at the code base on how they can contribute correctly. So, what does a contribution look like to that code base? Gives it examples on how to use it, how to run it. If all of those things are AI generated, is that a bad thing? I don't know. I don't think so. I think that that's fine. I think really it just has to go through human processes, I think, is the important thing. If it's not going through human processes, then it's open to just being wrong, and therefore just damaging in multiple different facets and different ways. So from a technology perspective, I think it's fine as a tool. From a educational perspective, I think again it's fine as long as it's accurate. But I think what we're going to see where it's going to be the worst is in the entertainment space, and definitely things like Google Images. I'm afraid Google are probably going to have to try really, really hard to be able to accurately filter artificial intelligence based content, content generated from an LLM or a machine learning algorithm, and be able to either tag it and say this is generated by AI, or remove it based on your preferences. Otherwise, we are going to go into a world where your Google search results will contain 15 results and 11 of them will be generated by AI. Now, looking at the results, that you can see that they're somewhat fake, AI generated fake, but that's only going to improve, right? They're only going to get better and better to the point where you're going to search for, baby giraffe or a baby lion or a domesticated, common house cat, and the pictures are just going to be completely indistinguishable from reality. What does that mean? I think it depends on context. I think it's going to depend on context. So I think overall context is going to be key to artificial intelligence. And so I guess that's the point that I'm trying to make here is it's going to boil down to context. So if we go back to DevOps, we go back to programming, cybersecurity, what's the context? Well, the context. Is AI going to be bad? It depends on the context. Depends on who's using it. Is cybersecurity going to be better for AI or worse off for AI? It's going to be both. Now we're going to see bad guys using AI in order to find zero-day exploits and RCEs and all kinds of stuff in all kinds of software stacks. They're going to be able to analyze open source software really, really quickly. But then the good guys are going to be able to do that too. So really, do they just cancel each other out? Is it just 1 minus 1 equals 0, right? But when we look at the entertainment space and we look at the education space, I think that's where it's going to be far more interesting. And I think there are far more interesting contexts in which this whole problem of artificial intelligence generating content is going to really crop up. They're going to be the core context in which this is going to be a major issue. So, is the human internet dying? Yeah, but I think we're going to go through waves, and I think we're going to go through ups and downs. We're going to see this kind of stuff, and then we're going to have to see legislation kicking in, and somewhat ironically, we're going to have to use artificial intelligence to combat the sheer just wave of artificial intelligence. How else are we going to do it? How else are we going to fix it? I think another thing to consider as well is authenticity. So let's say, for example, one of the comments again on here, it says it's slowly starting on YouTube too. Everything is becoming fake and low quality. So again, with that comment, I think that is correct. How do I combat that as a YouTuber? All I can really do is say to you that I'm not using AI. I'm using my iPhone. I can probably bring it up. Probably bring it up and show you. If the iPhone's on a gimbal, I'm just using a Rode microphone to do the audio. Here it is. There's the other one here. I'm in my room here, my office space, which I share with my wife. Here's the clothing she's making at the moment. That's the best I can do. What else can I do from a technological perspective? Maybe I can make the video and then somehow prove that I made the video, that me as a human being made the video. That do I do this? Do I use the gimbal to move the video around to prove that, hey, look, I'm in a room? But I mean, AI will solve that eventually anyway. So that's not even a thing anyway, right? Do I then create some sort of hash of my video? Do I create a SHA hash of it, and then I put that on a blockchain, on a global ledger, and then I put that on the blockchain. It gets solved. It goes on the ledger. It's write once, read forever, and that's me proving. But all that really does is prove that I uploaded the video, right? It doesn't prove that I didn't use AI. I don't really have an answer from a technological perspective. Maybe you have. Let me know. The comments are right there. Do you feel there's a technological answer, or is there only human answers? One thing I will say with AI is it's going to make things worse from the perspective of what we currently have at the moment is people who produce content to please the algorithm rather than produce content that as an artist they're happy with, which is why you may have noticed that I'm not producing much content recently, especially around the WoW stuff. That got a lot of interest and a lot of people really like that. It's boring. I can't be bothered with it. It doesn't hold my interest long enough. It's not interesting me at the moment. There are just bigger social problems that need fixing, and I'll talk more about those in a future video. And so, as an artist, as a content creator, I guess, to a point, all I can really do is just produce the content that I want to. But AI is going to enable the people who are willing to chase the algorithm and are willing to chase topics that are really topical and on point and controversial. They will use AI in order to accelerate themselves forward. Another thing to think about is just generally just human behavior. And I remember I read something and it was just the perfect way of encapsulating what I believe to be the problem with business today and the way people behave today. And it's, the world is full of problems, but instead of trying to solve those problems, people are just trying to make as much money as they can so that the problem doesn't apply to them. The problem doesn't apply to them. That's what people are doing. That's what most people are doing. And don't get me wrong, I don't blame them. You get to live this life once. It's relatively hard. It seems to be getting harder. There seems to be a gap between the haves and have-nots. Inflation has just been crazy because of COVID. Well, supposedly because of COVID. House prices here, especially here in Australia, are just mental. Luckily, my wife and I, we own our home. But people who are trying to get on the market, it's just hard. And so I understand why people are going through this grind and they're just trying to make as much money as they can. And AI isn't gonna help with that. It's gonna help. It's gonna help the people producing the content potentially, but it's not gonna help with the internet dying, the human internet dying. It is going to slowly chip away at that, and so we're gonna have to form and find a way of having very human-centric communities, and we're gonna have to use technology to do that. And as engineers, if you're watching this and you're a programmer, or you're an aspiring programmer or engineer, well, we're the ones that we're going to have to solve this somehow. We're going to have to work out a way of creating a digital environment in which we can prove that any content coming in and out of it is not generated by an AI. But how do you do that? Because ultimately it's just zeros and ones at the end of the day, and the AI will just get really good at generating zeros and ones that overcomes your filters and your analysis software. So what can you do? Maybe we just start connecting as people in meet space. That's all we can do. Maybe it's just we have to meet in person. Maybe that's the only real way of combating this. I don't know. Maybe you have an answer. Let me know in the comments. Really love to hear your feedback. And yeah, I hope you're doing well. I'll speak soon.